If I were to ask you, over the next 5 years, what's going to be the most transformative force impacting our economy? You might say artificial intelligence, machine learning, the Internet of Things, or perhaps with all the talk about autonomous vehicles and their impact on the job market, automation. The reality is, all of those are in service of just one underlying trend. And that's being able to deliver value in the moment of need. Being able to deliver value at the point at which someone needs it. So think about people, products, services being able to be delivered at the moment of need. So as we transition down this path of delivering on the now economy, I welcome you to the now economy, a time when products, services, and even experiences are delivered in the moment of need. And it's already happening. DHL and Audi have teamed up to be able to deliver to the trunk of your car. You sign up for the service, your car's GPS makes its location known to DHL. Audi provides a secure API to allow DHL to unlock your vehicle only when they're in proximity of the car. And voila, your trunk is turned into a delivery locker. So they're delivering this service, this capability in the moment of need, and you need to ask yourself, what does that mean to your customers? What does that mean to your employees? And it's going beyond that. Let's take a step further and look at what Amazon is doing with anticipatory shipping. This quote is a great one. What you want before you want it. Being able to deliver what you're looking for before you even ask. Anticipatory shipping is a technique, a technology that Amazon's been perfecting over the last several years, where they track your cursor movements on screen while you're on their website. They determine which products you're hovering over the most, and then combining that with other information, they select certain products to ship to a distribution center near your home in anticipation of you ordering those goods. So now Amazon is not just delivering in the moment of need, they're delivering before the moment of need. Now take it a step further. What does that mean in terms of competitive advantage? Because Amazon is doing this, investing in the technology, they're creating even a bigger gap between them and their competitors. Why? Because they're shipping to that distribution center before you ordered it, which means that they don't need to pay for expedited shipping to that distribution center. Once you order it, then they just need to fulfill for the last mile. So this gives them a great cost advantage against their non-anticipatory competitors. So again, Amazon's embracing this, creating greater competitive advantage, competitive distance, and it's going to be becoming really difficult for their competitors to be able to catch up with them. Join me as we extend this concept now from the physical to the experiential. Google Expeditions. Here, Google is allowing students to explore Australian coral reefs and the surface of Mars all in the same afternoon using virtual reality. Teachers can take their students on immersive virtual journeys pretty much anywhere in the world. And they're doing it now. Over 2 million students have already participated in Google Expeditions. And who are these students? They're future buyers. They're future decision makers. They're your future employees. And the way they're thinking is not just on demand from a physical world, but even now on-demand experiences. That's the takeaway for them. They're going to have this expectation that they can get what they want, when they want it, however they want it delivered. Whether it's a service, it's a product, it's a good, or in this case, it's an experience. If I go back to the example I used earlier with DHL and Audi for a moment, this notion of proximity, we're all getting closer to each other. Elon Musk just launched the Falcon Heavy and put one of his roadsters into space. He's now talking about Earth-to-Earth transportation, being able to go from New York to China in hours, and being able to do that in the next decade. Proximity, we're all getting closer and closer together. And we experience this notion of intimacy, if you will. Intimacy not just to the place, but to the person in the mobile telecommunications revolution that's happened over the last decade. Remember when you used to call a phone number? Right? A phone number was calling a place. Nobody calls a phone number anymore. Nobody calls a place. They call a person. And so we've made this transition from interacting with the place as the central element to the much more intimate, personalized interaction with the individual. Delivering not to places and addresses, but delivering to a person, delivering to you. So why not, if we can do this with delivery, we can do it with experiences, we can do it with services, why not do it with manufacturing? 3D printing in the manufacturing space has arrived. And it's settled in at a pretty unsuspecting place. You might think of the hobby market, or you might think of prototyping, simple prototyping with 3D printing. Well, GE has fully embraced 3D printing through a number of acquisitions. And they're now printing highly complex jet engine parts using 3D printing that previously were impossible to manufacture using conventional casting techniques. Now, they're not just doing that to replace or to enable parts that they couldn't make before. They're doing it with higher durability, lower weight, going from, in this case, the part you see here, 20 parts to 1 part. And that part is actually a fuel nozzle for a jet engine, one of the most critical components of a jet engine. And it's also being done in rocket engines. So we're 3D printing on demand critical components of rocket and jet engines. And think about not just the impact on durability, weight, part count, and cost, but think about the impact to the supply chain. Think about the impact to rapid prototyping, being able to deploy a new idea in hours instead of weeks or months. So this is happening, it's here, and it's a really exciting time. So what I'd ask you to think about today is to embrace the possibilities. Embrace the possibilities of where this can go. And why should you do that? Well, you should do that because your employees, your customers' expectations and experiences are already being set. But they're liquid expectations. What do I mean by liquid expectations? The idea that an expectation from one interaction or industry seeps over into another industry so that no segment is immune. You might hear some of what I'm talking about here and say, well, 3D printing, that doesn't really impact my business. Or being able to deliver in the moment or anticipatory shipping, what does that quite have to do with my business? Well, I can tell you a C-level executive at a top transportation company blew my mind when he said, Starbucks is setting expectations for my customers in a more rapid and competitive fashion than my traditional competitors. And I asked, what do you mean by that? He said, well, on a phone, somebody can order a coffee, they can pay for it, they can literally just stop in that Starbucks, pick it up almost without pause, and walk out. And now my millennial customers want to know, why can't they do the same thing with shipping? Why can't they stop by our locker and just pick it up? Why can't they order that pickup and have it arrive in the moment? So this is bleeding over through these liquid expectations from one industry to another. No segment is immune. Another example from a liquid expectation perspective is, think about this, an Apple Genius Bar interaction versus a doctor's office visit. Two seemingly unrelated experiences or industries, but the expectation set at that Genius Bar in terms of the way technology is used, the way that I'm interacted with, the response time, the connectivity, the engagement model is now becoming expected in other environments, in this case, in a healthcare environment. So embrace the possibilities and ask yourself, how can my business capitalize on this trend? How can I contribute to the now economy? Because I can tell you, you're either going to contribute to this new economic dynamic or you're going to be consumed by it. The father of 3D printing at GE, who ushered in printing for GE that resulted in $1 billion of acquisition in the 3D printing space, may have said it best when he said, once you start thinking about it, you realize both intellectually and emotionally, if I don't start moving, if you don't start moving, somebody else will. Thank you.